please reach out at messagemyhub@gmail.com.
Things that we can relate to each other on. If that conversation goes somewhere with depth, create a conversation amongst people who may not have ever had that conversation otherwise. Things that we can relate to each other on. If that conversation goes somewhere with depth, I'm only interesting because the people I know are interesting. And it's time that I share that gift with the world. Is to create conversation amongst people who may not have ever had that conversation.
Hello, folks, and welcome to the show where our conscience guides us on exactly where and when to omit the truth. I'm your host, Brandon Bourne, welcoming you to another episode of the self-proclaimed most interesting, insightful, and funny podcast ever, The Hub. But rather than bore you with talk of Tina Peters and Trump tariffs, let's get straight to it, shall we? My next guest is a former electrician whose interest in video editing first caught my eye. It was only later that I discovered his love for content creation. Michael, also known as Mike O, is a creative soul, one not to be bound inside the confines of a job site. From multimedia to scream metal, this man is in many ways impressive. Allow me to introduce in studio and accompanied by his lovely bride, Mike O.
Another special guest. This fella is actually someone that I have intended to have on the show for almost 2 years now. As an electrician, as a tradesman, I met so many interesting and quality humans. Not only were they quality humans, but it would be people that are talented in so many different ways. This fella was not only an electrician, but he showed me these videos, and I thought they were made by someone else. He's got these cars doing donuts in the sand and all this wild shit going on. And he tells me that he's the one that actually ends up making the videos, and he flies these drones around, and it's something I never heard of. So I was immediately interested, and like I tell you, I think it's lightning in a bottle. Anytime you speak with somebody and you can get them excited about a subject, I knew immediately that electrician was not the thing that he was going to be excited about. I knew he was way more excited about making content. I knew he was way much more excited about creating something for people and showing it to people like me, and that made me excited to tell him about this thing. Before this podcast was a thing, me and Michael had this intention, and now it's here. I want to introduce you to drone pilot and videographer Michael. What's up, Michael? Welcome to the Hub.
What's going on, Brandon? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. Would you do me one favor? There's 2 pieces of paper right there. Yes. Dope. Because I forgot my questions. All right. So, as I was kind of saying, we met on a job site, both as electricians. I think I may have been a journeyman at the time. I'm not sure. How long were you an electrician by then?
3rd year. It wasn't really exciting, so just glad those days are behind me now.
All right. What was it about being an electrician that wasn't terribly exciting?
At that point, we were out in the cold, way out east. I live in Lakewood, so going out to Aurora was just a far drive. A little closer. Yeah, far drive, from Lakewood, then going out in the cold and being yelled at by a foreman, or actually, they weren't even on the job site. Just that one asshole that I ended up yelling at the day I got fired. So that was kind of like my final push from electrical, because I'm trying to be better, but got to let it out. Fuck that guy. But moved on. So
was that the last electrical job you did? Was that one?
That was the last electrical job. Yep. That's gonna be the last. That was the last experience. If I absolutely have to, I'll go back. But there's just a lot of factors going to it. Being yelled at by a foreman in California, I went to school for it, and it doesn't count out here, so I'd have to go to school again. It's just, if I'm gonna go to school, it's gonna be something different.
For those of you that don't know, in the state where we're at, being an electrician requires 4 years of school. It's 1 day a week, as well as on-the-job training. So you do a 40-hour work week, plus you have 1 day a week that you go to school. That's the demand that he's talking about, and it's cool and it's worth it, and it's a good trade. And I won't say that it didn't do a lot for me, but I also got out of it for similar reasons. Like, there didn't seem to be a craftsmanship aspect to it. When I first started, even though it was only like 4 or 5 years before you, guys wanted to train each other. Like, the guys before me were like, hey, I'm training my replacement. I want him to be better. And then, like, all of a sudden overnight, they had these guys coming in that had zero interest in the trade. They just heard $25 an hour or something. and you had the guys manage them that didn't even care to teach them or make them better or anything. And then you just had like a whole bunch of people that didn't give a shit on a job site, blaming guys like you and me.
Yep. See, another thing that made me step away was there's no loyalty in the trades anymore. You go work for this company. As soon as this job's over, we don't need you anymore. See ya. And then you're stuck finding another job. And sometimes it slows down. So there's a lot of inconsistency. I spent a lot more time at a temp agency rather than an actual company. So it's just that kind of inconsistency in some places. And then whenever I was getting jobs, it's like Wyoming or Maine or somewhere far.
Have you traveled for work before?
Farthest was Avon, and I think that's 2 or 3 hour drive, and just being away from home was just not happening. And I think that by that point I was engaged, I believe. Yeah, I was engaged, and then had my brother out here with us. Then he got shortly after that, he got a motorcycle wreck, so it was just all a mess. And I don't want to travel for work. The home is my comfort zone. I'll go out and hang out with people, local places. But as far as like even going back to California to see my family, by the end of the 4th day, I'm ready to be home.
Right. Yeah, I'm a homebody myself. Like I always need to be outside, but I have to be close enough to get to the house.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like even with nature and things like that, I'm trying to reach out and be a little more naturey, but it's really difficult for me to get out there and be away from certain comforts, I guess you'd say.
Right. Camping would be about the only thing I could tolerate long term. You're out away from everybody. It's peaceful. You're out fishing. There's no. I mean, some campgrounds you do get the asshole campers, but that's everywhere. They're blasting music, but for the most part, it's nice and silent. You have the nice campfire cooked food. You're fishing. If I'm away from home, I'd rather be camping.
And while you're camping and cooking food and fishing, like I'm blasting music over there on the other side of the thing while you're yelling at me.
I'm trying to fish over here.
I'm trying to relax over here. No, but we'd rather be fishing. We'd rather almost do anything than now. Not to rag on the trade as a whole. It's good. It got me out of a bad situation. It saved my life, if I'm honest. I think both Michael and I are past that now, and can say, fuck that guy.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a lifestyle. If you want to do it, you can do it. But I like the idea of making money quick, so that's why I want to step away from it. You meet a lot of cool people, like meeting Brandon here, but I just have different ideas of where I want to be at in life, and life moves too quick to take that long to move up.
And it's kind of a trip just having, like, you strike me as the type of person that has a quick wit, like a lot of ideas that, I don't know if you're like me, like when I have an idea, like I feel like I carry these around because I have to write it down. Like if I don't get it out of my mind, I'm tripping, like, or I feel like I'm going to miss it.
I do have those. Yep. I've got separate notebooks for separate things. I've got one with my business ideas, one with my TV show ideas, one for music, and then one for just to have around.
And on a job site or when you're doing 40 hours, you're given, I mean, we spend, between sleep and work, we probably spend the majority of our life in one of those two positions. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And when you're doing that, and then you got dreamers like myself or people like you that, got big ideas, it's hard to put those people in a bottle and tell them, hey, show up 40 hours a week, do this.
Right. Yeah, so to me, the biggest things I aspire for would be, for one, writing my own paychecks. I don't want someone else signing off on my paychecks, because then they have control over your life. Insubordination, it's stuff like that. I'm getting a lot better about my anger issues, but I'm also still very responsive and very impulsive, and sometimes I will react without ration. So being able to sign my own check, but also I don't want to show up somewhere every day where I'm unhappy and go home and be unhappy, then have to make her unhappy because I'm pissed off. That's all I can think about, which really trying to work on, trying to come more into religion. I feel like I've done better. She's the judge of that because she lives with me, but it's just those things that really get under your skin. I know I can be so much more, and there's so many things I want to do, and then focusing at this job that I hate really ruins my creativity.
there's a muse in life. Like, and when you're going through hard things, it fucks with that muse. You know what I mean? Like, very similar. Like, I still get pissed because I have a similar thing. You know what I mean? Like, I got a pretty short, not necessarily temper. I just don't tolerate nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, and this is, I actually spoke about this. So if you hear it on one of the podcasts, I talked to him yesterday and I was telling him about you. I said, he's this cool cat, but you can clearly tell immediately when you meet him, like, if you're full of shit or you're nonsense, like, he's not fucking with you. You know what I mean? It's not that he's a mean person. It's just that he clearly has a don't fuck with me or lie to me vibe.
Yeah, I really want to overcome that because it's not worth being unhappy. And, you know, even video games, you know, repetition in a bad way just pisses me off. So, like, if I'm playing Call of Duty or Apex with the boys, I've been trying to, like, steer away. If I get angry, I try to shut it off as soon as I do because, like, now, like I was telling you about the vocals, I can't fully do it right now because I'm all torn up. So I'm trying to step away from that. You know, I've got my boys on a game called Warframe. Mellow game, but it's something because they're all in California, so I can't see them every day. So it's something I can get on and relax with. Play with your boys, yeah. So, you know, just it's a hard step finding ways to get around anger, shutting the game off. It's like, no, I'm losing. I'm gonna get this guy back, and then he gets me. It's like, you know what? I'm just gonna get off the game.
And it's not a bad thing. I don't want you to think it's a bad thing. Like, what I say is but because I have a similar thing. I think it's an aura. I think there's humans that, like, I see people. When I meet a person, I can kind of get a beat on them, and I think they feel that, and I think they're like, wow, this guy kind of like sees what I'm like. I can't get the same jive across on him as I can, so they feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And that's not a bad thing because it does keep a lot of the nonsense away from you, and it's not being mean. And now I've gotten to the point where it's not really being mean. It's like, I still don't really suffer the nonsense, but rather than reacting or saying it every time, it's more like, all right, you got that. I need to separate myself more often. And that's where the business thing does help. You know what I mean? I clean and I can be in somebody's house or in a building alone or make your own hours and do things like that. But on the other hand, you're struggling for money and you got to, you know, be the one to hustle up the next dollar and things like that. But it's really nice to get up and kind of write down and figure out your own day and figure out what you're going to do. You know, you might be struggling for the money at the end of the month, but at the same time, when you do get that next contract or that next thing, you're super proud of yourself. You know, you're not catching something off of somebody else's tree on a job site, you know, as an underling to the guy who's managing the dude who actually got the contract for the guy who owns the company that actually makes money.
Yeah. I mean, well, real quick, I want to ask, do you feel like I've been less angry, Tylee?
Yeah.
Overall? Yeah. But a lot of that was coming back into religion. I feel like that brings a lot more peace than anything. Obviously, quitting drinking helps a lot because you're not the same person when you're intoxicated. But at that last company we were at, the day I got let go, well, I guess 2 days before I got let go because I skipped work the next day and then went to the office. But the dude that was there as the lead, I blew up on his ass. I yelled at that fool and everything. And I was like, this company's full of rat-faced bitches. Obviously not talking about you because you're like the only cool – you and – fuck, I keep adding names. I'm not going to say the name of the dude I talk shit to, but I blew up on his ass. You know, I was, oh, you're a fucking bitch and all this and that. Like, I was angry at that point in my life, very angry. And when I went into the office, I got fired. I blew up on them too. When I left, I told the PM of that project, if you can't let an employee stand up for yourself – you're a coward and a tyrant. And he's like, go home. I'm like, see, you're a coward and a tyrant. Pissed him off. He did not like that, but it's true. I don't think insubordination should be really a big factor into employment because I'm a grown man. You're a grown man. You've got experience. That's what you've got. But you can still come and talk to me like a reasonable human being. That's like going to a restaurant treating the staff like shit. It's not cool.
Yeah, there's a way to go about it. There's a way to treat people. And that was the thing I had because, like, there would be, because as a journeyman, you're not the boss, but you know a little more. You've done it for a little longer and you know a little more, so they put you in management over maybe a few people or something. But then you have to report back to him, you know, probably that guy you're talking about. And he's holding me responsible for these guys. And as a journeyman, in my opinion, your responsibility is to the crew, to the men, and to be kind of the go-between between them and the PM and the foreman. You know, the foreman doesn't want to be the guy that's out there yelling at the crew. He wants to have an intermediary that they like enough that he can tell them things to do without having to be responsible for it. You know what I'm saying? And that's my job until you try to say, hey, you got to go over there and treat these guys like shit, or they're not getting it done in this time. And I'm like, well, you're not equipping us with the materials or with the time or with the things that we need in order to make them successful. So why would I be hollering at these guys if you're not giving me what I need in order to make them successful? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, the big problem with that company was the whole too many Chiefs, not enough Indians as well. That was one big thing. But also chain of command, too. Like you were just saying, if I was an owner of a Fortune 500 company, I would want all my employees to know me in a good, like, I don't want to just see them as numbers. Like, they're all people. They have lives. Sure, I get angry sometimes, but the way these foremen and shit will go out on their job sites and they just start yelling at you and tearing you down in front of the guys, why? What does that do? That's just going to give you bad quality work, for one. And honestly, even on her stepdad, which is like one of the favorite people that I've worked with, I've walked out on him for yelling at me. I'm like, you know what? I'm going home. Which obviously he knows where I live because, you know, we're kind of all intermingled. So if you want to pull up, you're like, what the fuck? Then, you know, there's that. But
to your point, though, there should be you should be able to maybe not be totally insubordinate, but you should be able to speak your mind. Like, you should be able to disagree with your whatever.
Right. Like, I could totally understand if it's like, no, I don't want to do that, so give me something else. Then I could see it. But if it's like, you come up yelling at me, I'm like, you're not talking about, you know, that there's that one dude, that bigger guy that was on the job with this heavyset guy, not superintendent, but the other one. But he yelled at me. I'm like, hey, no, you ain't gonna talk to me like that. Like, you watch that. Right. And he apologized. But as soon as I leave, you know what he does? If I was the PM here, I'd be firing someone. You're full of shit, dude.
We're gonna get back on the good stuff. Yeah. So the reason that we both left is because we got these similar ideas. Remember, videographer Joan Pilot, dope ass human. This guy right here. So we're gonna get more on that subject. How long have you been doing what would you say is it content creation, video? What would you call it that you mainly focus on when it comes to the media space?
Obviously, visual's the biggest thing when it comes to video. You want quality products. You know, if you want to get your kids a drone or whatever, get one of those little what are they called, Snapton or something like that. A lot cheaper. They're still decent quality, but I want to put out quality creations because I want to be a quality person. If you're interested in something enough, you want to invest in it the right way instead of just throwing whatever you got out there and calling that good. I want to actually give something that I care about 100%, looks good, sounds good, feels good, is engaging. So that's kind of like even music stuff because I want to start writing music. You know, I have the Scarlett interface too, as you got right here. And I might invest in a better mic in the long run because that's one thing, you know, that the music stuff does get expensive. But you want quality products for your quality content.
Right. When you're capturing stuff like the donuts that you showed me and different things like that, like it's fast paced and it's twisted and it's going all over the place. Like, how do you capture something that's in motion like that and make it not look like shit?
Video games. That's the honest answer. Lots of video games I've been playing since I was a kid. And when you get familiar with the joystick, obviously there's still a learning curve because the layout's different and the joysticks do different things. But overall, having the muscle memory in your thumbs already built up from years of playing games helps a lot. And that video was shot. I'm still say I'm new at the drone stuff because I haven't done it in a while. But having that background playing video games, and especially stuff like Call of Duty, where
what's the remote look like? Do you have the remote?
Yeah, it's in the backpack. So the honest answer would be just years of video games. Yeah. Kind of give you that agility with the drone. And there's guys that are way better than I am.
Dexterity. For you ones that don't know big words, dexterity, that means stuff moves good. You ride bikes also, don't you?
Yeah, sold mine, but we still have hers, so I can still ride if I want, but push once, then hold. It's not going to really show you much right now because the drone's off, but you've got your settings. It'll show you like
I was gonna make a really bad joke right now, but Another bad story. Oh, I have the remote. Okay, that's T-minus 10, 9.
So you got all your settings here, and that nickname I told you. Well, the Maiko comes from when I'm a twin, so we grew up and we couldn't, kids can't say each other's names. So my brother would call me Maiko. So I kind of just, when I got older, I made that my Instagram account, so I stuck with it.
What is it, Maiko or Maiko?
Maiko, M-I-K-O.
Oh, M-I-K-O.
So I just kind of made it drone Maiko for this, but you've got like a profile. You can find the drone's off right now, so it's not going to do anything, but you can make it flash and beep. It's in the backpack. With it.
Speaking of that, when it comes to, are there any anywhere that you have any information or content or any place that you would like people to be able to search, like to find any content of yours? Anywhere to direct people?
There's not any new content posted, but if you want, my Instagram is MIKO489, and my TikTok, I'm gonna have to look.
Because we're here to rep, and we just want to make sure everybody gets their proper
and then
information.
TikTok is the same thing, but there's another 9, MIKO4899.
I'm going to get in the habit of trying to get some of this stuff on here too. So X, Instagram, Facebook, Brandon Bourne at Message My Hub. Any variation of that, you'll be able to find it.
I do have, I still call it Twitter because I can't change, It's not in my nature, so I still call it Twitter. I have Twitter, but I don't have really anything uploaded yet. A little bit of reposts, but if I do start being active on that, it's probably going to be music. If you're a metalhead, that's the place to go. But I can't remember what my handle is. Right, I think it's the OG Nutchucks. There's a story behind that, but I want to say that's what my handle is.
Well, Mr. Nutchucks, feel free to tell.
So the Nutchucks, which she's not a fan of this friend in particular, but he can be an alright guy. I was over at his house one night, and it's Bakersfield winter, so it's not as bad as out here in Colorado, but still, for me at that time, I haven't experienced anything else, so it was cold for me. And for whatever reason, he wanted to try to slap me in the knee, but got me about mid-thigh right in the testicles as well. And he's like, I didn't know your balls were that low. So he's like, we're going to call you Nutchucks.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Okay, I've got nunchucks on the wall. Right there. I can wield them.
Painful experience. Wouldn't recommend.
So speaking of nut experiences, 4th grade. I don't know how old you guys are, but the 80s and the 90s, everybody, guys and girls, had these patent leather shoes, and a lot of them had these metal tips. This is like Kid and Play, KRS-One days when people had dance troops and shit.
Lawn darts.
This little girl, I'm in 5th grade, and we played tetherball. And I'm smacking the tetherball with this other kid, and it flies around, and this girl's walking by, and boom, it slaps her right in the face. And I feel bad, her whole side of the face is all red and this and that. This little girl walks up to me, looks me dead in my face with those patent leather shoes, and kicks me dead in my nuts. She lifted me about 2 inches off of the ground. We had a mediation after school. Like, they set us down in a class with these 2 teachers and were like, you guys need to work that out, because it was hilarious. But yes, I feel you. It's a painful situation.
I bet your voice could shatter glass after that, huh?
I think I'd probably be a bass right now if that hadn't happened in my life. Have you ever had to film, like, use your drone or fly in bad weather, like snow or anything?
No, this one isn't water resistant, so I try to avoid it. I sent one drone out into, what was that, Sloan's? No, that was Lake Arbor. So it's still sitting in the water. I'd like to retrieve it eventually, but for now it's sitting in the water. So not water friendly. Keep it out of the water. There are drones that are, but I haven't used them, so I don't know anything about them. So I try to keep it on. If I can do it on cloudy days, but it kind of meshes the colors together, makes it kind of gray overall. So I like the bright sunshine-filled days where I have vibrant greens and blues.
The colors are not. Yeah, I guess that makes sense with video, but you can probably. Yeah.
Well, there was that one I showed. It was cloudy that day, but the snow that I showed you, how crystal clear it looked like you could see each individual crystal of the snow. But overall, snowing and rain, keep it out.
And that's funny that you talk about having to retrieve it, because I'm working on a segment called Midlife Crisis My Ass. So the idea of Midlife Crisis My Ass is that me and anybody who's willing to be down with it, like you, Michael, would get together and try new things. It could be anything like me sitting over here plucking on this guitar. It could be I've got a cousin who married a skydiving instructor, so I'm trying to get together with him and see if I can work it out and get a trip together where a few of us go and skydive or something like that, and just, try out new things. So I'm thinking, now that you just mentioned that, I'm thinking scuba diving should be on the list. Scuba diving at Sloan's Lake.
Honestly, it sounds like a fun scuba diving. I'd take that over skydiving for sure, but it sounds fun though. I mean, you'd think I'd at least have tried it once in my life living in California for the 23 years of my life. So you would think I would have at least tried it, but haven't. I've never even been on a boat other than Lake Lopez, which that's pretty cool, but I've never been deep sea. So I feel like I might try.
What were you doing in California?
Who knows? Yeah, who knows at that point.
That's dope. Do they run out on time limits or something? Because yesterday his went 28 minutes.
The GoPro? I guess she says it's overheating.
He would go 25 and he would stop it or something.
Probably overheated, but it just showed it had a lot of battery life, so maybe we should let it cool off.
Shine bright like a diamond.
Yeah, it's too hot, she says. But it's got the medium mod on it, so it's got a bunch of accessories going into it, so I kind of get it. You think GoPro would get a little more figured out? Love you, GoPro. Don't come after me. But you think you'd have something.
Right. Well, speaking of, since the camera wants to take a break, this is probably a good time for us to do the same. This is the portion of the show where my guest takes the reins and actually chooses how we spend the next few minutes. I like to call this segment of the show Free Time. You got options of either doing a freestyle rap or a poem, of which we'll have to make up a random topic. We come up with the topic first, and then you get the opportunity to make it up. 2, we can come up with a skit, something along the lines of whose line is it anyway? We'd also come up with a topic and make something up. Or we've got what I'm adding is kind of a dealer's choice. So this is where people that might not want to do any of the other ones, if you've got a better idea, I am fully participatory and I will participate no matter what you choose.
See, it's funny you say that because I was going to say I'd rather go for like a dealer's choice because there's just too many avenues to explore. There's lots of fascinating things, cameras, music, podcasts. I've been wanting to do my own, but.
And I think since we've got my man here, we're just going to break for a minute. We're going to find something to get together, and we might just give y'all some back in a flash. Thank you for tuning in, and look forward to another half with my man here, Michael Jones. Or fucking dude, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with his name. Just call him Michael. Mike Daddy O, pimpin'. Yeah, Mike Daddy O. Whatever. That's the sticker. That's the keeper. Mike Daddy O. All right. Bet. So we're back from Mike O, videographer and drone pilot. We've got 5 rapid fire questions because he's decided that he wants to see if we can, get a little bit of something out of him. We've got some dynamic video that we're going to get into later, and we'll make sure that we post that too. So this free time segment is going to go far beyond this few minutes. But right now, we're just going to appreciate my man and see what kind of an insight we can get out of him. So welcome back, Michael. Thank you again for joining us here on the Hub.
And thank you again for having me.
And when I figure out how to work my computer, we're going to get up here. So I got 5 questions for you. I want you to answer them just as whatever's off the top of your head. I haven't looked at them. I've been on this strange thing of using ChatGPT because I'm totally like against technology and I hate the idea of AI and I'm scared of it. But I've tried to use it a couple of times and it makes me not have to think. So, all right. Worst weather condition you've flown in?
So like we talked about earlier, not waterproof, not water resistant. So I'd say windy conditions. There's definitely been some where the wind is fighting through. It's only 249 grams, I think. It's been a while since I've looked, but 249 grams or something like that. So it doesn't have the best resistance against the wind. And if I'm trying to get a steady shot, it just blows it off course. So that's probably the worst I've been in.
Yeah, because that's only, 6 to 8 ounces maybe, something like that. That's not big at all. What's the biggest mistake you've made while filming with your drone?
Yeah, so there's a couple. I've been through a couple drones, which is why I'm really picky about it now. The first one I was trying to get some almost like a roller, but with the drone of her on the bike. And there was this tree that hadn't been trimmed in a while. Blade smacked it and broke the wing. And when it hit the ground, it broke the gimbal. So that was one drone. And the one that really bugs me, the one we talked about earlier, I was trying to film some geese over it. It was Lake Arbor, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was. But the drone starts going down. I'm trying to pull it up, and it doesn't want to go up right into the water. That's that drone that I still want to retrieve.
Dang. So we will be scuba diving for those drones in the future. Remember, Brandon Bourne and Message My Hub. Feel free to look in if you are a man and you feel like you want to learn something new. We will be scuba diving in Lake Arbor for Michael's drone from 2015.
I want it back.
One drone feature you can't live without.
I would say the homing feature. If it loses connection, or if you're just being lazy, you can hit the home button. So if you're being lazy, hit the home button and it just brings itself right back. But if you lose connection, it'll go to the last updated home point and bring itself back and land.
So it creates self-flight.
Yeah. So say you go past the limits or something funny happens, the drone will just fly itself right back to where it took off from.
That's a really neat feature. That's like sit, stay,
A secondary one
come.
would be, a secondary one would be the GPS that you have a little, kind of like the mini map in Call of Duty, and you can see which way it's facing. So if I'm like, I don't remember which way I flew, I can just rotate it and find the home point and fly it right back.
Epic areas like and had any near misses with people or other drones or things in the sky, which is going to lead to the next question.
Not the sky, but the closest one would, I'd have to say that one, the one Mercedes that's on my TikTok. Almost got hit there a couple times. But that's kind of the risk you assume when you're trying to get a cool shot like that. It almost ran into me.
Oh, it almost
Yeah.
ran into you?
It was when he was doing the slide, and I kind of had to lift up a little bit because I felt like I was really close to the car. And I'm sure there was a couple points where it was about to make impact unless I lifted off.
Oh, is that acceptable? What is it? Risk for you there?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, you know, yeah, it might just blow up and make the money back.
We're wild up in here. You know what I mean? We're kicking tables. We're getting run over by drones. Doing whatever we want. That's how we get down. Dope. And we got to get back to that because the drone, that drone and Crash come together to remind me about the thing in New Jersey. How there were those drones flying over. We're off course now. This was a free time, but now it's just our time. So one thing, most adrenaline pumping shots you've captured, and then we'll get on to that.
Also the Mercedes, because I was new at that time, and I was sitting there shaking with the controller in my hand because it was like such a new experience, and it's for me, decently expensive drone. So if that got hit, yeah, assume the risk, just like if you're riding a motorcycle. But it's exciting too. It's not like a scary thing. It's like, yeah, you're sitting there with an adrenaline rush, but you're having fun. Like, you're like, this looks so cool. When I edit this and cut this out, it's going to be badass.
Having that end result, like anytime you can get an end result out of what you do, whether you're painting a house, building something, putting out a cool piece of content, whatever it is, it's nice to have. Yeah. Anytime you can have something to show for it.
Which I did want to add before I forget. If you are committed to electrical, don't bail on it just because someone else doesn't want to do it. I don't want to do it because I don't like it. If you like it, keep doing it.
Amen to that. That is a very astute statement.
Yeah, I'm not going to bag on the trade because it's useful and you can learn a lot, but it's just not for everybody.
Right. And sometimes it's just a situation or a boss or whatever the case is. So, yes, I appreciate that, and I'm sure people listening will appreciate that too because it is important. One of the main things I had was I always thought it was important for because I'm a felon. You know, I'm a 4-time felon. It's not a lot of places where guys like me can just go and find a job overnight without the experience, right. Be able to work yourself up in 4 years and make pretty decent money, you know what I mean, and get your stuff together. That's why it offended me when the trade started going into a kind of a negative place because it did so much for me, and I wanted to pay that forward, and I always pictured myself being able to pay that forward, and maybe still will, like you said. It's not to bag on it, it's just it got difficult at that point, and there's a lesson learned there, and being an electrician is pretty freaking awesome in the right environment for the right people. Right. That's no doubt.
And then I know there's going to be people that are like, oh, these guys are soft, they couldn't hang. Whatever. You know, if that's how you want to spend your life, spend it like that. Beat your body up, be grumpy, but at the end of the day, who's happier?
Hey, we're all gonna be happy one way or the other by he's getting beat up and such. Oh, that's what it was. What were we talking about? Okay, so 2 words on here reminded me of something. Drone and crash. Got it. New Jersey, drones. News break. Drones flying over the New Jersey border. There's word out saying that this could possibly be coming off of a mothership from Iran off of the sea of what's it called it. And then 10 minutes later they came on the news and said, nah, just kidding. That's not a thing. Don't even sweat it. We'll do a little bit of investigating. Did you hear about that?
I did, but it was really late. And I was like, why is everyone so scared of this? You know, if anyone's going to get information, like the whole TikTok thing, they're going to get our information. Like Snapchat, Facebook, and Instagram don't do that. It's all really the same to me. Or really anything that has access to the internet can go to any country it wants, whether its origin is from the U.S., China, Taiwan, Europe, you know. So if you're that scared, we have a Second Amendment for a reason. That's how I feel. If I'm worried about a situation, I have it right there to protect me.
Do you like TikTok? What's your preference? That's the other question from earlier. What's your preference as far as does it matter what your goal is with your content as far as which platform you send things out on? Or is there just one overall that's better to use?
I definitely post on TikTok.
I don't know if we're allowed to talk about it.
I post on TikTok a lot. I try to keep it ranged. Well, Facebook is just for me, family. That's more private. You know, me, family, friends. That's kind of like a private platform. But Instagram is a good one. I just kind of neglect Instagram. I don't know. It's kind of my people dying platform, I guess. I go on there and scroll through reels and see people getting in crashes. It's like, yeah, it is. So it's like, I guess that's probably why I neglect posting there, because most people are just using Instagram for that anyways. But TikTok, I'd say TikTok more because...
Or boobs. That's pretty much all I see on it.
Yeah, the hoes have taken that over for sure. It's sickening. You'll be scrolling trying to find your funny reels, and it's like, get this bitch off of here.
I want to be part of your reel. Can you send me some? I'm not interesting or...
Yeah, well, to me, it's like, you have no qualities. Would you date me? No, get the fuck off my Instagram. The not interested button is a wonderful thing, and also the block button, because get the fuck out of here. But I'd say TikTok's definitely a lot more user-friendly. Even the old folks are on it now. Mom. Kidding, I love you, Mom. Yeah, she is. She posts, but she had... I mean, what does anybody in their 50s post, really? No shade, Mom. I love you. But she's having fun, so who cares?
Midlife crisis, my behind. So the point of the midlife crisis, my ass segment, is that people can try new things without it being a midlife crisis. That's the idea of it. So like a bunch of dudes getting over 40 decide they want to go fucking skydive or scuba dive for my man's drone. It's just because that's fucking fun. And that's interesting and that's something cool to do. It has nothing to do with anything else other than, hey, I want to try something new, so we're going to go have an excuse to go try something new. So, Mom, get with it. Get your TikTok on. Much respect.
She actually has more followers than I do because I'm really not active. I need to be, but I've just been so focused on real world things that I don't post much.
You want to hear some dumb motivation?
Yeah.
For me and you, since we're considering ourselves like fledgling content creators, or you probably more than me.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah. Like, so the guy at my church, shout out, my man. I could probably say your name. You're into getting views, but I don't know. He might not like it. But anyway, he apparently started making TikTok videos. And he said, bro, I've been making these TikTok videos, and I just do random stuff. I get on there, and I'm like, I talk about how I feel about Trump, or I say, hey, I've got my coffee, and I'm listening to the radio. What's up? And he's like, I started off just doing it silly, and he said, I'm making money now all of a sudden. I was like, for real? He's like, how many? He said, yeah. I said, how many followers do you need? He's like, I think it's like 10,000 before you start making money. He said, all of a sudden I got 70,000 followers overnight. And like, I got a $2,000 check. I'm like, what? Like, for real? This shit's for real? People make money on this? So, hey, y'all need to get on it and start subscribing or liking me or do something. I ain't 5 episodes. I'm working hard. I ain't no money. Come on, dang. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I was getting into it too. I'm like, yeah.
But yeah, like, so that was kind of encouraging because he's just, doing his thing, but I think he's being consistent, and I don't know how it creates like that or does that.
Well, consistency is the biggest thing. That's why he's getting those views. That's why my mom's got more followers than me now. Like, I think about 100. She's a couple thousand or something like that. So she's growing. But I was going to say, too, I feel like younger me would have definitely gotten embarrassed by, oh, Mom, what are you doing on social media? But now it's like, especially compared to some of the other stuff I've seen, especially on TikTok, where it's just like horrifying to watch. Like, how did you look at that multiple times, possibly multiple takes, and still post that? At least Mom just being Mom. You're just being, I don't know what you're being, but no one should be acting like that. And you can't help but sit there and watching it. That's why they get the engagement, because you're like, really? You're going to act like that for thousands, millions, billions of people? That's crazy.
Or the guy who just reposts another guy's post of another guy's post and puts his little head in the corner and goes and restates the same thing. I'm like, man, I bet that guy's making fucking $2,000 a month. Sign in, subscribe. You guys need to start paying attention. This is freaking ridiculous. These assholes shouldn't be making money and me not making money. Michael right here should be fucking rich. Sorry, I apologize.
And that goes back to quality. If you're going to invest well. I mean, if you absolutely have to get started, use what you got. But those people that just farm other people's resources for their views is bullshit. Go make your own videos. You're not interesting sitting there pointing at this going, yeah. It sucks. I don't want to see that. No one wants to see that.
You're a musician. You probably can feel me on this. Like I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, so sampling is a thing. You know what I'm saying? But there's a difference. There's like sampling a portion of a song, using it, and making your own beat. You know what I'm saying? Or not even doing it, taking an idea or whatever. And that was something you maybe do twice out of 10 songs. Other than that, everything would be original. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's like people that would just remake a whole thing, or they're all of a sudden they're turning this mixed tape thing, and everybody just took other people's beats and started coming out with all these mixtapes over these things. And it's cool, you're a good MC or whatever, but like,
no effort. Yep.
No effort happened. Like, you know what I'm saying? And there's like, as an MC or a person like me, I would look at that and I'd be like, knowing what it takes to build a song, you know what I mean, from production to putting it out is really difficult, and that got so streamlined. Like, that's why I was kind of leery to get on this content stuff, because it seemed like they had streamlined a lot of things that I used to and a lot of guys used to spend a lot of time on. I mean, shit, we had CDs and records and fucking tapes, for God's sakes. And now some asshole does it on his phone and looks in the corner and says, look, fucking Yukandi, fucking shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, but coming around and learning to respect it, I think I said it before, like, I used to not have any respect for this, and talking to people like you and trying to do it myself and seeing how difficult it is, it's like a totally different animal. So
yeah, no, it definitely takes, other than sitting in the corner of your phone screen pointing, it takes effort to do shit like this. Like, even writing the show and the music, like I've been trying to get to, you have to sit there and think about it. It's a real thing. It takes time, it takes attention. You have to actually feel it and put effort into it.
Let's talk about that. I had forgotten about that. Your show. What type of show are you trying? Like, is it like sitcom, YouTube, short show? What type of avenue are you?
Well, I'm a big fan of Adult Swim, and I like some of the shows on there. I don't watch all of Squidbillies, but there's definitely some funny points on there. The guy that voices Early Unknown Henson, he's a funny guy, and she knows what I'm talking about. He's a singer, country singer, but he also voices the main character in Squidbillies, and it's kind of not as graphic as that. They're pretty vulgar, but it'd be that kind of cartoon style, more adult oriented. Not the dry humor either. It's got to have some taste. But yeah, I don't want it to be like, ugh, because a lot of some people have, I call it dick humor, and I don't understand it. It'll have some sexual innuendo like any adult show does, like talking about titties or whatever. Right. But it's not going to be a graphic display or overused.
Yeah, we used to make jokes about it. I used to call them the beep and booty jokes that everybody used to get. You'd be like, man, you're so lazy. You can't even come up with a better joke than that. This is all you got. And you'd have like a whole set on just raunchy crap. But that's cool. So it'll be. So I'm that guy you're talking about. That's like the dry humor. So you're gonna be a between me and but not just stupid shit. Not running into walls with your motorcycle and trying not to live like jackass.
Pretty much, it's not going to be my life in danger. It'll be cartoon characters, so they can die and explode or whatever. Like, you bastards killed Kenny, like whatever. It'll have some blood and stuff like that. But as far as like those shows that always have to talk about penis or something, it's like, all right, you've already used that content. Let's write a creative joke.
Dope. Yeah, that's exciting. Like writing, how do you approach writing? Like, do you have a?
It was alcohol.
Yeah.
But no, you have to have the idea of what you want. So the basic idea is it's going to be this kind of surfer, like if you imagine me, but a pothead, because I don't smoke. A lot of people think I'm a pothead or whatever. And it's like, no, I'm actually straight edge. It was just the alcohol for me. But it's kind of like that hair, long hair surfer dude. He kind of has like, whoa, man. I moved all the way out from like Long Beach to here in New Mexico. Like, so now, in fact, I made this town in New Mexico because it was just a desert, dude. But it's kind of like that. Like, that's the base of the character. We got some other characters. Have you ever watched Sling Blade?
I have.
We want a sheriff that's kind of like Carl. Like, So I got a buddy that I'm going to throw on there. Yeah. So he's going to be that kind of sheriff. And you boys out drinking, but it's not going to be me voicing that one. It's going to be that buddy. Not going to name any names because that's in my head now. Not throwing out any names. And then my brother is on top of that. He's also writing his own show. It's called, I think he has one that he wants to write called Shorty and Slim. That's kind of a pothead adventure one. That one's not really in my taste, so I'm not doing anything with that. But he has another one. What was it called? It was something about these two boys in some kind of country twangy state trying to make metal music. And that's kind of, that one I can get behind because obviously we're both metalheads. We both do the vocals thing. So we kind of get that taste. And if you're somewhere it's like not really big into metal, it's like, oh man, how are we going to make it? But he's the one you'd have to talk to about that. If I can get him to get back out here, definitely have to swing him your way. Absolutely. Because he'd be the one to talk to. But, it's just about having that creative taste. You know what you want. You know what your characters are going to be. There's still more characters going to be added. And they're just going to be stupid shit. Like, that stupid thing that these new, like the kids started the new slang, the ski.
No, I don't know what's that.
What's that? There's a stupid song that does a ski. And then there's the morning dove call. The morning dove call where it's like, oh shit, I can't even whistle right now. My lips are too dry. Can you whistle?
All right, people, you're getting sound effects now. If I start beatboxing, this motherfucker's gonna get wild.
I'm just gonna have to play the audio for him because I can't whistle right now.
Uh-oh. I feel like I'm on one of those poltergeist shows where they like.
So the morning dove call. But it's going to be that stupid ski to make fun of it. And it's going to be like, ski, 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 ski. Yeah, just noise like that. And then, I don't know if I can even do that right now. Mind if I get some more water real quick? Yeah, thank you. But there's an idea for crickets. I'll just kind of keep talking about it. There's this idea for crickets. And it started out as just a noise. And then I kind of added some flair on it. It's going to be like, they're these evil, like almost locust-type crickets. And at night when they come out, if you're caught out there, they're just going to eat you. Just something stupid like that, like right down to the bone in seconds.
Carnivorous crickets.
Yeah, carnivorous crickets. And they're like bigger than the average cricket. Almost like a Jerusalem cricket, like something freaky looking like that.
Can I be the voice of a carnivorous cricket in your show?
So the idea was with the vocals. I'm not sure if I can do it right now.
Oh, it's gonna be one of these strange noises. Oh my!
Kind of like an fuck. I can't. That's the basis of it. When I'm healed,
You guys are screwed because you're not getting video anymore. This shit's fucking hilarious.
That. And it's gonna have multiple tones, so there's like a lower tone, higher tone.
So there'll be words and sounds to create the vibe of the people. Oh, that's dope.
little like blend everything. Mostly like.
I'm not even gonna let him tell you guys too much more about that because his ideas are dope and no stealing until y'all start subscribing and hitting and doing and making it to where we make $1,000 a month for no fucking reason. Sorry.
Probably said a little too much, but that's some of the general ideas. And I've got a couple episodes written. There's one about, what was it? There was big basis off it is stuff that's happened in real life too. Some stuff that I've experienced, job site stuff. Right. When that one dickhead contractor said I was speeding on the job, I'm sure you're there that day. So that's going to be in there, making fun of his ass. Oh, so yeah. So it's like real life experiences, but with the cartoony twist, and I wish I could do that cricket sound better, but like I said earlier, I was yelling at Call of Duty because I'm competitive. And as I like to say, overly passionate.
Is that what you lost your voice for
yelling? Fuck, that was bullshit. Yeah,
Okay, I need one. Is that what you lost your voice for yelling at Call of Duty? So, okay, I need an outside. Okay, I need one question. We've got a guest here. How hilarious is it to watch him freaking out on Call of Duty?
On Call of Duty? Oh my, he loses his mind. I feel like it's pretty entertaining though because everything's fine. Like he'll be getting kills. It's cool. He's chilling, and then one thing happens, and he snaps, and he's yelling, and he's yelling, and he's yelling, and you can hear it like outside of the apartment too. I'll be like coming home, and I can hear him just screaming at the top of his lungs.
It's in the genetics. Okay, I have to win. And she has a last name now, so she has to win too.
Good. That's why you got each other. A couple of winners.
I think the other reason she laughs is because, you get the typical insults like, what? I don't think so plain. Like, or how the kids say, you're dog water, shit like that. Like, there's one dude a long time ago pissed me off. I'm like, you should have been a white stain on the bathroom curtain.
Oh, man. Whew. Or not at all. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much you should have never been born. So, that's why I try to steer away from Call of Duty more now. When I start getting angry, I'm trying to do better about turning it off instead of getting payback on that son of a bitch that's camping.
Maybe it's good that you're getting out on Call of Duty. Maybe
right.
Both of us should get out on Call of Duty so that we don't cuss somebody out.
Yeah. No stranger to it in traffic, too. I've gotten better about the traffic because people get crazy, and we don't need more shootouts.
Now that we're talking, okay, traffic. See, this is good. You bring the conversation right where it needs to be. So I've had this ongoing conversation with people about zipper merging. Where are you on zipper merging? Do you speed up to the front and get in, or do you slow down, be courteous, and allow people to go from the back?
I believe zipper merging is best if you maintain your current speed and find the soonest available opening. Instead of slowing down and speeding up and causing everybody else to have to change their pace, just wait till you find the earliest available space to get in, and then get in there. It's really, the zipper on your pants is going at one speed. That's how traffic should be.
Why is it so logical to you? Why do you just get that? Like that's so technically that's what you're supposed to do. I mean, they kind of put it to where you're supposed to speed up to the front and go ahead and get it as you want because it creates more space for the people behind. Which I was always the person that thought he was being courteous, and I'd just be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna hang here."
See, to me, if you speed up,
so you're right.
The car behind you brake, and if you slow down, you make everybody else slow down.
So
and that's where the traffic starts to
You're a genius.
become.
Sling Blade would have known that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So if you're having troubles, zip your pants up and down a few times to see how consistent it is. It's not going to change speed. Everything's going to fall into place as fast as your hand goes. That's how it should be in traffic.
And if you see an orange cone, zip the trip.
Yeah. Also, officers, don't pull people over on the on-ramps. That fucked my morning up. You made me almost late to an important interview, you assholes. Pull them off the highway. Let everybody else continue with their traffic, but you did it on an on-ramp. DPD.
There you go. In your face. All right.
I'm not against cops, but that morning was like why you guys are responsible for maintaining safety. Get them off the highway.
Only that cop that day that did that thing. But oh shit, I forgot what I was just gonna say. I had a question for you because you had just reminded me of it.
Was it about traffic still?
No. Oh, it's the next most interesting and important question in the whole world. Like, it's really how you judge a person, and you can tell what kind of person they are. In the bathroom, toilet paper. Over or under?
Over.
Over. Always and only over. Thank you.
It's about presentation.
It's about presentation. And that, my friends, is the correct way to put your toilet paper. And we're going to end on that note because now we know he's not a communist.
Couldn't be. I love my Second Amendment too much.
Now, is there anything else, any direction, any information, anything that you want to get out there that you want to tell people about before I let you go? Because I just want you to know that I appreciate you. What do you got?
Yeah, content creation, it takes effort, but if you want to do it, do it. If you find something interesting, there's going to be people in that group that find it interesting as well, like the drone stuff, motorcycles. You know, the motorcycle community is a huge one. No-name riders, I'm not in that group anymore right now just because I don't have my bike. But it's a growing community. There's lots of content to make on the bikes. There's lots of meets. You can take the drone out. You can take GoPros, Insta360s, whatever you want. There's a lot of people that do, like, photo shoots and rollers and all kinds of stuff. So if you're going to post something, there's always going to be that group that finds it just as interesting as you do.
That's a really awesome insight, is that no matter what it is that you're into, there's probably a community out there for you. Even like the fella at my church that decided he was all of a sudden going to make TikTok videos about what he feels like drinking coffee and is making money. There's somebody out there that's going to either agree or disagree, but more than likely they'll click. And Michael, I just want to thank you for bringing this to fruition. I've been looking forward to talking to you, and like a big part of this podcast was to make this moment happen, man. So I'm truly excited, and I'm truly happy that you showed up. Thank you.
Right, and I appreciate you having me on. Life does get in the way, so sometimes it's not present, but there are times where, like, man, I got to hit him up. I haven't talked to him in a while. I need to see how he's going with this. And then you just kind of hit me up out of the blue. I'm like, oh, shit, we're doing this. Okay, it's finally time, huh? So it's been cool. Definitely would like to be a guest a little more frequently if I can, because there's always stuff to talk about, and there's always new events happening. So it's about keeping it interesting and hanging out with good people.
Absolutely. And we'll keep up on what you got going on, and we'll get you back to the show every chance we get, man. Thank you again. And for all y'all out there, thank you for tuning in. Thank you next time. And if you want to, feel free to subscribe. We're on all platforms. The Hub with Brandon Bourne. Don't you forget to take it light, and it won't ever get too heavy. Be peace, brethren.
It may have been a mistake to grab a mic again. I'm finally facing my demons and feeling right again. No lie, embracing the truth about who I really am.